Hello, everyone, and welcome again to the Notorious Money Show. It is your host, Adrian Nino de Guzman. On yesterday's episode, I introduced the book Thou Shalt Prosper, which is the foreword by Dave Ramsey and written by Rabbi Daniel Lapin. You guys, I want to confess that I'm a slow reader. I'm in no rush to get through this book, and I know that maybe you can find another YouTuber that will break down this book by a certain amount of chapters, and you'll get everything that you need quickly, and maybe you're doing this for school or yada yada, whatever the case may be. But for me, you guys, I'm a normal person, and I read at my own pace. I'm all about, take it easy, sit on a couch, take notes and really think and ponder about what you're reading, like really dissect it, really ingrain yourself in what you're reading. And then I also love just, sip on a cup of coffee, enjoy the evening and read a good book. And that's what I'm all about. So I'm going to break down this book slowly but surely. I don't know how many videos it's going to take, but I just hope you guys enjoy like my perspective, my take as I read and I learn from these gems. And as we continue to learn about the philosophy of money. To recap, obviously, you know that this YouTube channel that I have created is so that we can learn how to conquer money. And we, instead of learning just the basics of, hey, like to get out of debt, right? Just keep on attacking, keep on paying it down. I believe that, yeah, obviously I've explained like certain techniques that are important, drawing from ancient biblical analogies and ancient techniques, right? That I've been teaching, like knowing thy debt, parting the Red Sea of bills from your income, budgeting like a pharaoh, etc. But I really want to hit home that there is a philosophy to money, and there's something that we have to do, which is to nourish and strengthen our spirit and our mind so that we can conquer all things, including money, and that we can gain wisdom, and by gaining wisdom, we will gain wealth. You see, the law of receptivity talks about the amount of people you serve, that amount will equivalent to the amount of money that you will potentially be receiving, or the amount of income you make. And I'm a firm believer in that law. In business, the reason why people go into business is because they see a problem and they have a solution for that problem. Therefore, the solution to that problem will help many other people, these customers or other individuals, to fast track or to eliminate the pain of that problem. And that is a benefit to society and to communities and to individuals and families. And that's why not only is the morality of business something good, but the morality of being able to serve others and then knowing that your wealth will increase as you serve others, but also not only serve them, but look for wisdom and always continue to learn. I think it's those three factors that will help us to gain wealth and become financially free. Specifically, there's an equation that I like to think of and that I've shared with all of you, and that is success equals opportunity plus preparation. It is my firm belief that in our lifetime, we will all be presented with an opportunity that will come knocking at our door. And we must be ready to grab that opportunity by the horn and take it and cash it into the bank. And that opportunity might lead to economic prosperity or to spiritual strength or whatever the case may be. But I think we will be presented with an opportunity, because the flip side to the coin is that inevitably all of us will live through one tragedy in our life, whether that's a health tragedy directly associated towards us and our personal health, or maybe a family member or a friend that will die prematurely, or that will go through something traumatic or a certain tragedy that will also hurt us and break our hearts. But just like that is inevitable, and it's a matter of when, not what, I am a firm believer that we will have an opportunity knocking at our door. But are we ready to do the unseen work? Are we ready to put in the reps? Are we ready to do the things that we need to do when the cameras are off so that we can be successful? And that is what success is. Again, success equals opportunity plus preparation. Today I want to focus on the preparation side of that equation. How do we break down preparation? Well, let's divide preparation by learning and practice, because learning times practice equals preparation. Practice, right? Like the favorite basketball player, Allen Iverson, always said, right? Like in his infamous interview, practice. We can't even win a game, and you're talking about practice. But obviously, in that scenario, Allen Iverson was talking about just how their team had been going through a losing streak, and he was frustrated that practice just wasn't cutting it. But it really was just more about learning from their mistakes. Because I'm a firm believer that whatever your craft is, if you put in the work, the unseen work, and you practice hard, then you just have to continue to learn from the experiences, and that gives you wisdom so that you can apply that wisdom to the bigger fish, or the bigger games in that analogy of basketball, right? When everything is on the line. The same is in our personal lives. We must require constant education, learning, and require to practice that learning. Learning the theory and putting it into practice is what will help us gain wisdom and will help us be prepared to receive certain opportunities in our life. With that being said, I want to read the part in Thou Shalt Prosper, the beginning of chapter 1, that is titled Success Requires Learning and Practice. And I want to read these couple of paragraphs and break it down to you as I've been receiving a lot of inspiration from this book so far. So it says, suppose you are interested in becoming proficient in self-defense. You might start by reading several excellent books on martial arts. Will you now be ready to fearlessly tread the mean streets after dark? Of course not. Imagine this scenario. As a malevolent arm snakes around your neck from the rear, and a hard and cold object prods you in the ribs, you bravely reach into your pocket to locate your well-worn copy of Everyone's Guide to Self-Defense. You try to flip through the pages as you gasp for breath. Chapter 7, you recall, describes suitable responses to attacks from behind. Unfortunately, by that time, the sad outcome of this unpleasant encounter will be difficult to change. It would not even have helped much had you memorized the contents of the book. The only way to improve your confidence on the streets in a meaningful way is to attend class regularly and practice the moves until they become second nature to you. That way, when attacked, your body will automatically respond in mere milliseconds. You will react instantly, powerfully, and effectively because you bypassed the slow logic centers of your brain. To the utter dismay of your assailant, you will have become a new person, quite different from the fearful old victim he mugged last year. So I love that analogy and that example right there. That, for example, so many people are studying and learning jujitsu and all these self-defense techniques, or learning how to fight so that they can be ready to defend themselves without a weapon. But in order for you to be successful at that, when the real life scenario meets you at the door, you have to be ready to counter, and you have to have done the practice, the work, so that you can be ready for that scenario, and that your mind and body and spirit are in sync, and just remember the practice that you have done. The muscle memory is there, and you can just react instantly. I love that, because the same is with money. Once you start learning how to save, once you start learning to invest, once you start learning how to just seek knowledge, read, learning how to ask questions, and put these things in practice every day, then every day you will become better as you suddenly just start to change. You become a person that's constantly looking for wisdom and knowledge. And that's a practice, that's a skill. And you have to put it in practice every day. Continuing, the parallel to business will become clear when you recall some negotiation or other in which you thought of dozens of brilliant and inspired thrusts and counter thrusts. The only problem was that you thought of this illuminating points during the ride back from the meeting well after its conclusion. During the very transaction itself, you were so busy trying to keep up your side of the negotiation that you had no chance to let your genius shine forth. You obviously would have done better had you just been a different, more experienced negotiator. Man, I have had so many experiences in my life where I've had either an argument, a discussion, political debate, whatever the case may be. And every time after that negotiation or that discussion, I think, oh man, like to get my point across better, I forgot these points, or I forgot this part of the argument. And then you always have remorse, or you have regret because, dang it, like I really dropped the ball. I didn't explain my point, or didn't get what I wanted because I forgot to say these certain points that buffer my argument. So definitely, I've had multiple experiences like that, and I'm pretty sure all of you have. If not, just think of the last time you got into an argument with your spouse and you forgot to mention something on why you were right, and then later on you forgot, you got into the fight, and then you forgot that point, and therefore she won the argument. So yeah, I mean, all of us have had that experience. How does one become a better negotiator? In much the same three-phase method that one becomes better at carpentry, better at omelet cooking, and better at writing poetry. Number one, learn. Number two, understand. Number three, practice. Phase one is learning the techniques. Phase two is understanding those principles that lie behind the techniques. Understanding how those techniques work provides assurance that they will work. Gaining confidence in the ultimate effectiveness of those techniques is important because it helps to provide the motivation to keep going with phase three, which is practice. Phase three is doggedly and determinedly practicing, not only to become proficient in the technique, but also to become a different person. When I emphasize the need for practice, I do so in the same spirit as the piano teacher urging her student to practice. It is how the material becomes part of you. This could be why I sometimes refer to myself as a practicing Jew. The implication is not that with enough practice, I might one day get it right, although that may well be true, but that by consistently practicing the religiously mandated behaviors, by doing different things, I will integrate the desired habits into myself, eventually becoming a new person. You should feel comfortable with the idea of constantly practicing the techniques that will be discussed here and make them a regular component of your daily life. So guys, practice makes perfect, but it's not that it makes perfect. It's not the end game. When, for example, the author here, the rabbi says, I'm a practicing Jew. I say practicing Jew because I want to change. I want to be better. I want to implement the teachings that I'm learning so I can become a better person. Therefore, when we practice or we integrate money habits that are fueled by spirituality and by the true philosophy of conquering money and telling it what to do, and not being seduced by money being the root of all evil, which is just the pursuit of money without serving other people or without gaining wisdom, then if we focus on the real practice, which is to serve others, to gain wisdom, to gain knowledge, and then to apply these money techniques to our life so that we can become financially free, when we practice this, we become a new person, we become a different person. Our relationship with money changes, and our relationship with others changes as well. We become wiser, and we just have a more fulfilled and rich life. So it's all about practice, right? It's all about just thinking about all of the examples of the GOATs, right? The greatest of all times, whether it's Pelé in soccer, whether it's Michael Jordan in basketball, Tom Brady in football, now maybe Patrick Mahomes, whatever sport, whatever art or craft, whoever was the greatest or whoever you admired the most, it's because of the work or the practice of the techniques. And obviously they were also blessed with God-given abilities, but it's the practice of the techniques over and over again, the unseen work, the reps. And it's the same thing when it comes to the sport of business, the sport of life, and the sport of tackling money, which I think all three of those are essentially the same. When you can become successful at life, you gain wisdom, you gain experiences, you gain knowledge, and therefore you're able to apply that to the life of business and to the life of your wallet and the life of your economy. So, with that being said, let's be about that action. Let's go and apply techniques, and let's practice every day. And I'll cover more on what I learned from this book on the next episode. Thanks, you guys. Give me a like. Please subscribe. Again, go get this book if you have not. Thou Shalt Prosper, foreword by Dave Ramsey, and written by author Rabbi Daniel Lapin. So thanks, you guys. Notorious Money. We'll see you guys next time.